The Lewis men's volleyball team continues to pick up conference victories, and the baseball team picked up their first home victories. We'll have the latest in Lewis athletics coming up right now. Hello and welcome to Flyer Nation, your source for the latest news in Lewis athletics. Thanks for joining us here on LUTN and online. I'm Shane Gustafson.
And I'm Natalie Budig. Joining us later on in the show is Lewis head golf coach Skip Steffey. He'll talk about both teams' success this season as well as the Invitational that was scheduled for last weekend.
But before we get to that, let's take a look at some other Flyer sports headlines. After playing one of the best seasons in school history, the number 4 Lewis women's basketball team looked to perform on a national stage last week. The team played in the NCAA Elite 8 for the first time in school history, but unfortunately fell to number 2 Limestone College in the first round of the tournament. The team stuck with the Saints throughout the majority of the game, but couldn't hit a pair of 3-point baskets in the last few minutes of action and fell 61-58. The team finished the season with a 31-3 overall record and won the NCAA Midwest Regional title before advancing to South Dakota. After the game, Lewis head women's basketball coach Lisa Carlson talked about what worked and what didn't work in the game, as well as commented on the entire season as a whole.
It was a hard-fought battle, and you got to give them a lot of credit. I thought they played really well, especially defensively. Gave us some troubles at times, and I think it was a great ball game by both teams. But unfortunately, they made a few more plays than we did. This was a group that, as soon as they stepped on campus this year, we knew we had the chance to have a really special year, and a lot of that is because these guys have been playing together for a long time, and they believed they would be here. They believed they would have a shot at winning a national title.
This was the most successful season in program history for the ladies as a whole, but several members of the team won individual national awards as well. California University of Pennsylvania won the NCAA National Championship title.
It was another successful weekend for the number 4 Lewis men's volleyball team, who added 2 more conference victories to their record. The guys took on Ball State on Thursday night and looked strong from the beginning. The Flyers took the first set by 10 points, but Ball State came out in the second set looking to get even with the Flyers in the closest match of the game. The Cardinals put 22 points, but the Flyers maintained the lead the whole way through and took the second set 25-22. Overall, the Flyers came away with a 3-0 sweep thanks to a double-double from redshirt senior Jeff Powell, who picked up 10 kills and 10 digs with 4 blocks. The men continued their success on Saturday on the road against number 15 IPFW. Senior Greg Petty led the team with 14 kills on the night, and the team picked up another 3-0 sweep over the Mastodons. After Thursday night's game against Ball State, head men's volleyball coach Dan Friend talked about the keys to the sweep.
That Scotty did a real nice job establishing our offense from the get-go and definitely put some pressure on Ball State, and then the guys just continue going. I think we're working on a couple things and trying to get better at incorporating some tempo and some big, and I thought he did a nice job of doing that with us tonight.
The men are back in action this Wednesday night when they welcome number 1 Loyola to the Neil Carey Arena.
The Lewis softball team was scheduled to play a pair of doubleheaders at home this weekend, but Mother Nature had other plans. Cold temperatures and rain prevented the team from playing their games against St. Joseph's and Indianapolis, but the Pumas stuck around for a makeup game on Monday. The teams were finally able to hit the field, and the Flyers looked to add to their 13-10 overall record. Before Monday, the team hasn't played since March 22nd when they split their doubleheader with Maryville at home. After today's games against St. Joe's, head softball coach Becky Pearl talked about dealing with the weather and also talked about how the team prepares for a rescheduled weekday game.
We weren't ready to play that first game. It didn't seem like, just really quiet, not our typical selves. And so I really challenged them in between games to play Lewis softball, come out and play hard no matter what. Even if it ends in a loss, at least we can say we left it all on the field. And I feel like they really did that. I was really proud of them.
What's been working so well for the pitching staff this year?
They've been working hard all season long and just being really flexible and doing what I ask of them. And so it's been really good to see, when Kelly needs help, Lainey comes in. When Lainey needs help, Kelly will come in, and no matter what the pressure is, she does her job. So it's very good to be able to rely on a pitching staff like that.
The team plays again on Tuesday afternoon against UW Parkside in a doubleheader matchup.
This weekend was much more successful for the Lewis baseball team after they picked up 2 victories over McKendree on Saturday afternoon. Game 1 in the doubleheader was a little hard for the Flyers, who were down going into the 6th inning. However, the team climbed out of that deficit and tied the game, which eventually went to 12 innings until a walk-off hit scored the winning run. The Flyers took the game 9-8, and pitcher Sam Couch picked up his first win of the season in that game. Pitching was the key to the second game as senior Ian Cox took the mound and pitched 7 scoreless innings. Cox only allowed McKendree to pick up 3 hits in the game, and the Flyers took game number 2 4-0 from the Bearcats. The team also played McKendree again on Monday afternoon. After the games, head baseball coach Tim McDonough talked about his team wins and the season as a whole so far.
It was just a matter of time before we started stringing some innings together, and was really proud of the way the guys, tied it there late and, ended up getting a walk-off win. We needed that, and I thought Sam Couch particularly was great at the end, giving us 4 great innings to get the win.
The team is back in action this Wednesday when they welcome UW Parkside to Brennan Field for a doubleheader.
Both track and field teams traveled to Maryville, Missouri over the weekend to take part in the Herschel Neal Decathlon hosted by Northwest Missouri State University. On the men's side, junior Dan Lent set a career-high record in an NCAA provisional third-place finish of 6,343 points, a score that head coach Dana Schwartig said was huge on the national list. Schwartig also noted that if the winds weren't 40 miles an hour, his score might have been much higher. On the women's side, senior Megan Marchildon finished second in the Ashley Nally Heptathlon with an NCAA provisional showing of 4,677 points. Schwartig said that this was a solid start for her, even after coming off of an injury. The Flyers will be back in action on Friday when they head to Louisville, Kentucky to participate in the Bellarmine Invitational.
The women's tennis team had a very successful weekend, coming home with 2 wins. On Friday, the Flyers traveled to McKendree and came away with a 6-3 victory. And number 1 doubles freshman Nora Mindayarova and sophomore Anna Bannock came away with an 8-4 victory. Juniors Megan Nagayan and Jill Wetmore teamed up for an 8-2 victory in number 2 doubles and also had wins in singles competition. On Sunday, the Flyers traveled to Southern Indiana, picked up another victory of 6-3. Mindayarova and Bannock took home another win in doubles, as did Nagayan and Wetmore. Head coach Brett Bedell said that the team did a good job controlling the doubles and had good, solid, and smart singles play as well. The Flyers will take on Ferris State at home on Thursday. First set is set for 1:30.
Meanwhile, the men's tennis team had a busy weekend as well when they traveled to Southern Indiana and Belleville, Illinois. On Saturday, the Flyers took on McKendree and came home with a 6-3 win. In number 1 doubles, senior Armand Lavandi and Eric Onapu won 8-4, while in number 2 doubles, sophomore Matej Sordanovic and freshman Andre Norris-Smith took home an 8-3 win. Lavande Onapu and freshman Alan Fujakowski also took home wins in singles competition. On Sunday, the Flyers took on number 25 Southern Indiana but fell 6-3. Despite losing all 3 doubles matches, the Flyers were able to win number 1, 2, and 3 singles. Head coach Brett Brydell said the team needs to start preparing for a tough weekend ahead when they take on Ferris State on Thursday afternoon. Well, the weather's not making it easy for the teams to compete. We saw baseball and softball both have to deal with it this weekend. Golf got canceled. Hopefully it gets a little bit better for them as we move later into the spring.
I don't know why. I do find it kind of funny when you have to cancel a baseball game because of snow or,
yeah, you
whatnot.
don't hear about that too often, but it happens.
Well, hopefully the weather will start to cooperate. We got a lot of games scheduled in the upcoming weeks.
Absolutely.
But when we come back, we'll talk with Lewis head golf coach Skip Steffey. Stay tuned.
A full life measured in seats starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
2 outs with a runner on first base. Now the big guy comes up to bat, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 homers.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Hey, this job looks perfect. It says you need people skills?
Check.
Driver's license?
Check.
And a high school diploma or GED.
Skip the drama. Get your GED.
I got that.
You are good to go.
Take that first step towards a better future and sign up for free classes now at yourged.org.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Welcome back to Flyer Nation. The spring golf season is in full swing and both teams have had success early on, both collectively and individually. Neither team played this past weekend, but both teams are getting ready to compete in the upcoming Midwest Regional Invitationals. Joining me now to talk about the season so far and moving forward is Lewis head golf coach Skip Steffey. Thanks for coming on and joining us today, Coach.
Oh, no problem, Shane. Happy to do it.
All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and start talking about the season so far. Like I said, both teams off to a fairly strong start. The men took first place at the Cardinal Invitational a couple weeks ago. The women came out and took first place in Arkansas and Louisiana over spring break. I guess what's working so well for both teams so far?
Well, it's great because both teams have 3 wins on the season. The consistency of our top 2 or 3 players has been the real key for us. We've had great success with the men's team in that we've had 2 juniors step up and do a great job for us. And on the women's side, we've got 2 sophomores doing a great job, Rachel and Melissa.
So you talk about this past weekend, the women's team was supposed to play in the Saints Spring Invitational that was supposed to be in Lockport. Unfortunately, the weather prevented that from happening. What's it like for the team to prepare mentally and physically for an invitational and then have it canceled and not happen due to the weather?
Well, we'd rather actually have it canceled than have a really bad condition that causes problems with their swings and changes things. And it's better preparation, really, to just stay inside and not even play.
So talk about the team not being able to play too often at home, especially during the spring season, always on the road. The closest the team will play is Cog Hill in Lamont. What is it like for the team to play everything on the road and not really be at home much during the regular season?
It's a little tougher to play on the road all the time, but we get used to that. The kids get their travel regimen pretty well set. And as long as we keep it the same all the time, they get pretty comfortable with it after a couple of trips.
So golf is one of those sports split into 2 seasons. You have the fall season, then you have the spring season. How do you make sure that the teams don't lose anything and the teams continue to work throughout the winter when they're not playing, but they're still training for the upcoming season?
Well, we have an off-season conditioning and strength program. That helps a lot. And then they have 1 to 2 hours of skill each week that we hit indoors or chip and putt in the field house.
Okay. So the team's pretty young this year. You have 5 freshmen on the men's side. You also have 4 freshmen on the women's side. Not too many seniors on the team. What's it like for you and your coaching staff to work with such a young group of players this year?
Well, it was a little challenging in the beginning because high school golf tends to be a little bit more social than, competitive. But the better players like we have here at Lewis grasp that competitive thing right away. And by the 3rd tournament of the season, I think we were in pretty good shape.
So you also have an assistant coach, a new assistant coach on your team this year, Brooke Melvin. This is her first year here. She played at Chicago State, held several leadership roles as a student while she played there. What does she bring to the team?
Well, she brings a certain maturity level and the experience of D1 golf, which is good for us because in striving to be a top Division II team, we really need to emulate the D1s. So I think Brooke brings that stability to us, and she's had great success. She's actually coached the men's team in 2 of their victories.
Oh, wow. So last season, you talk about the women's team going to the GLVC championships. They finished in 4th place in the first round, 6th place in the second round. The men also did very well, advanced to the NCAA Midwest Regional. I guess, how do you take that success from last year and bring it to this year to try to get back to that point?
Actually, both teams looked at last season's finish and said, that's not enough. That's not good enough. The women definitely feel that they're top 3 in the conference and want to go to the super regionals themselves, something no women's team has ever done. And the men feel like they're the best team in the conference, and their hope is to go to nationals.
So this is your 10th year as the head coach of the golf team here at Lewis. I guess how does the beginning of this season feel compared to the previous 9 that you've had before?
More exciting than ever before, because we knew the teams could be good, and we were really hopeful that that was going to pan out for us. And I think that over the course of the season it has. So we're really excited, and more excited than we've ever been at the beginning and right now for these teams.
So like we said, team's not playing at home too often, but they are playing this weekend, or the men's team is playing this weekend, the women's team is playing next weekend. Both teams are together next weekend. What can Flyer fans expect to see if they come out and see some Flyer golf this year?
Well, they'll see real consistent, strong, aggressive play, real quality, and I think the teams will place well in any tournament, and won't surprise me if they win 1 or 2 more.
All right, well, Coach, anything else that you'd like to add while you're here today?
No, we're just looking forward to a great finish to the season and potentially either or both teams getting to the NCAA Nationals.
All right, well, Coach, thanks for coming out and joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Not a problem. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned right here on Flyer Nation.
Look at me. Hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just, please, don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
You sure you don't want some? It's chamomile. Listen, you are extremely terrifying. Just the scariest undead subhuman thing on TV, and I really mean that. But I am worried that you could give my kids nightmares if they see you, so I'm gonna have to block you. So that's it. Oh, and tell the zombies they're blocked too.
Preventing wildfires. That's all Smokey wants for his 70th birthday.
The weather didn't help the softball team this weekend, but that didn't impact their GLVC standings too much. Let's take a look at where they currently sit in the conference. The Flyers are sitting in 8th place currently with a 4-4 overall record. Truman State moved up in the standings to the 1st place position with Indianapolis and UMSL sitting in 2nd and 3rd place. McHenry, UW Parkside, and Missouri S&T round out the conference.
The baseball team got a doubleheader in this weekend, and their 2 wins helped them move up in the standings. Let's take a look. The Flyers are sitting in 3rd place in the Eastern Division with Indianapolis and St. Joe's holding the top 2 positions. Illinois Springfield, Southern Indiana, and McHenry are in the last 3 spots in the division.
The tennis season continued over the weekend, and both of the Lewis tennis teams played on the road and saw success. Let's take a look at the standings. On the men's side, the Flyers are sitting in 3rd place with a 2-1 record, with Indianapolis and Southern Indiana holding up the top 3 spots. McHenry, St. Joe's, and Illinois Springfield sit at the bottom of the division. On the women's side, the Flyers are sitting in the number 2 spot. Indianapolis is in 1st place and Bellarmine is in 3rd. Illinois Springfield, St. Joe's, and Southern Indiana are sitting in the last 3 positions.
The men's volleyball team keeps picking up victories, including 2 more over the weekend. However, they're still sitting just behind Loyola in the MIVA standings. Let's take a look. The Flyers are in the number 2 spot in the conference, holding a 10-1 record. Loyola holds the same conference record but has a slightly better overall record, keeping them in that first place position. Quincy, Grand Canyon, and McHenry are sitting at the bottom of the MIVA conference.
Last week, the GLVC announced that Nora Mindiarova of the women's tennis team is their player of the week. Mindiarova didn't lose a single game as she earned victories at both #1 singles and doubles last week. Her singles year-to-date record is 14-6 and her doubles mark is 11-6. This is the second time this season that Mindiarova has earned this award.
It's time to announce our Flyer Nation Player of the Week awards, and we'll start with Ian Cox of the baseball team. Cox threw 7 scoreless innings and only allowed 3 hits in the second game against McHenry on Saturday. Cox is a senior on the team this year and a leader of the pitching staff.
Our second Flyer Nation Player of the Week award goes out to Jeff Powell of the men's volleyball team. Powell picked up a double-double last Thursday night in the game against Ball State when he picked up 10 kills and 10 aces. Powell is a senior on the team and a leader on the team as well. All right, well, it's good to see all of the teams in good standings right now, and yet again, the Flyers earning all of those awards.
Yeah, especially Nora Mindiarova with the GLVC award. Good to see a tennis player getting that award, too.
Right, absolutely.
All right.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back here on Flyer Nation.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Body language can tell you all sorts of things. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. Face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty. Time to call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Learn the body language and spot a stroke fast.
You make me wear my bike helmet. You taught me never to run with scissors. And to follow the swimming rules.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
We only have a few days of school this week, but there are still a few games on campus before we leave for Easter break. Let's take a look at the schedule. On Thursday afternoon, the softball team is at home taking on UW Parkside in a doubleheader. You can get live stats for that game on lewisflyers.com. Game 1 is set to start at 3 p.m., while Game 2 is set to start at 5 p.m. On Wednesday night, the Lewis men's volleyball team takes on #1 Loyola at the Neil Carey Arena. You can catch that game here on LUTN Channel 6, as well as online at lewisflyers.com and on our radio station, WLRA 88.1 FM. On Thursday afternoon, both tennis teams welcome Ferris State to the Jack Aramis Tennis Complex. Those matches against the Bulldogs are set to begin at 1:30 p.m. And on Friday, the softball team is back at home taking on McHenry in a doubleheader. Game 1 is set to start at noon, with the second game starting at 2 o'clock. Live stats can be found on lewisflyers.com.
And before we leave today, let's take a look at this week's play of the week. It comes from Game 1 of the baseball game against McHenry on Saturday. In the bottom of the 12th inning, the game is tied at 8 when Chris Picalis steps up to the plate and drives in the winning run to win the game 9-8. Well, it looks like we have a busy week ahead with all those games that had to be rescheduled due to the weather, and then we also have a busy weekend ahead as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot going on. Easter's happening this weekend, but it doesn't stop them from playing games. So if you're on campus for Easter break, come out and check out the teams.
Right, absolutely.
All right. Well, that will do it for us this week here on Flyer Nation. Thanks for joining us.
Be sure to join us next week right here on LUTN for the latest in Flyer athletics.
From all of us here at Flyer Nation, have a great day.
say a picture is worth 1,000 words. We beg to differ. They are snapshots that represent lasting memories, stories to be told for years to come. Our story is one pictured not just with trophies, but with diplomas, friendships, a helping hand. New chapters beginning every season. This is the story of the Great Lakes Valley Conference.